Hello friends, and welcome to Top of the Stack MTG. So I wanted to do a quick video about game day, which is coming up. I want to talk about things that I've learned in deck construction. Ways to make a better deck than maybe the decks that you're currently making. I've learned a couple key things recently. Number one is you should think of your deck as a 75 card deck, not as a 60 card deck. The sideboard, a deck without a sideboard will not win on a competitive level. It can't. There's such a wide diversity of decks that you're going to face that you're not going to have the answers that you need to deal with all of the crazy things that people are throwing at you without a sideboard. Even with a sideboard, it's difficult, right? But without a sideboard, it's just straight up impossible. It's like saying, I want to play Magic, but I only want to draw cards every other turn. It's just a huge negative that you would give yourself. And I know this is very simple stuff, of course, but it's very important. So number one, think of your deck as a 75 card deck. That way you don't think to yourself, I don't need a sideboard for this. You should always have your sideboard. Also, the key elements of the deck. And this is something that's new to me. You guys know I always build decks that are very specific. I don't like to include cards that don't make sense with the theme of the deck. I want the entire deck to work together. And I've slowly begun to realize that although that's very fun and it's very cool, it's not the most competitive approach. So if you want to be a little more competitive, like this coming weekend at game day, you should think about cards that help your deck and that help you and that fit your theme, and cards that hurt your opponent. So one possible way to break this down is to say, I want a specific amount of cards that fit the theme and help my deck, and I want a specific amount of cards that hurt my opponent. So if you're going to run 4 of each card, which I highly recommend, of course, hopefully you've got cards that are so good that you always want to draw them. So you run 4 of each card, unless of course it's a legendary or something, and then you decide to go with just 3 because you don't want to draw 2 of them in a game. Totally understandable, right? But try to go with 4 of each card. That's going to give you about 13 cards in a deck. I would say just a starting point, because that's where I'm at with this, just a starting point. Go with 7 cards that help your deck and your theme, and 6 cards that hurt your opponent. Now, 4 of those 6 cards are going to be in your sideboard, but 2 of them are going to be in your deck. 2 cards in your deck just won't fit the theme, right? They are there to hurt your opponent. Now, it's possible sometimes that you can find a card that fits your theme and hurts your opponent, and that's super great, right? But make sure you have at least 2 cards in your deck that are designed to hurt your opponent. Now, once you pick those 13 cards, and you decide, okay, these 9 are in my deck, and these other 4 are going to be in my sideboard, you have to stick with those 9, okay? And that's kind of rough because there's many ways to hurt your opponent. So which 2 do you pick? That's a tough choice. I have a little list of ways that you can hurt your opponent in Magic. It's not complete by any means, but these are types of cards that you're going to want to put in that hurt your opponent. Number 1 is card advantage. If you have a card that lets you draw more cards than your opponent, that's excellent. That is a great way to hurt your opponent. If you're playing against some aggro deck and you know they're going to run out of gas real fast, but you're going to draw a bunch of extra cards, if you can stay alive long enough, you will destroy them because you are going to get twice as many cards as they do. A second way to hurt your opponent is hand destruction. There are certain cards that say things like, look at your opponent's hand and discard one card. Things like that. That's a great way to mess with your opponent. If you can discard the best card in their hand, that's great. That's a great thing. Third way to mess with your opponent is killing guys. Kind of a silly way to put it, but ways to get around their creatures. You can either remove them, return them to their hand. You can give your creature flying so that they just go right over the tops of their creatures. You can buff up your creatures so a 2/2 becomes a 6/6 and kills their creature when they defend. Combat tricks. Any way of getting rid of their guys is a great way to mess with your opponent. Gaining life. It's not the best way to mess with your opponent, but it certainly counts. There are certain decks that hate life gain, such as aggro. Right? If you gain 20 points of life during a game and you're up against some kind of red deck wins, you're probably going to win the game because they can't do 40 points of damage. They're going to run out of cards too fast. Countering stuff, right? If you play some kind of blue control deck and they say, I'm going to cast this spell, and you say, no, you're not. That's great. That's a great way to mess with your opponent. Destroying other types of cards, and this is very important. If you want to get rid of equipment, or you want to get rid of enchantments or artifacts or lands, there are lots of other types of cards you can get rid of to really mess with your opponent. So right there's 6 different ways that you can mess with your opponent. So let's say you throw together a deck that it has 7 cards that fit your theme, and then you've got 2 cards that are artifact destruction and destroy a large creature. Let's say you've got those 2 cards, and those 9 make up your deck. And then you've got some other stuff in your sideboard. Now, if you go up against a goblin deck, they have no artifacts, and they have no big creatures. They're just getting tons of little goblins. And the first game, they just run you over. They destroy you. Now, it's time to sideboard. And you can say, okay, I don't need artifact destruction, and I don't need to destroy a large creature. I'm going to take both of these cards out, and I'm going to put in a board sweeper, a board wipe to get rid of all those goblins. And maybe I'll put in kill a small creature, something like a fatal push, right? Destroy a creature that has a converted mana cost of 2 or less. Throw in a fatal push in there. Then, the second game, you trounce them because they cannot deal with the extra life and the board wipes or the fatal pushes or whatever you chose to put in. And it also makes it easier when you're trying to sideboard. What do you take out when you're sideboarding? Well, if you've already decided that all 9 of your cards are essential for your deck, then there's no way you can sideboard because you're stuck with those 9, right? Reduce it to 7 or reduce it to 6. You could have 6 essential cards for your deck and 7 cards that just mess with your opponent if you wanted, right? And I think if you embrace this kind of deck building strategy, you will be more competitive. And this is something that I need to do because my decks are lacking in this way. And I'm probably going to have to go back through and make some changes. I've been thinking a lot about playing the mono green deck, the green stompy deck for game day. But I feel like I need to make a couple changes. I need to put some cards in there that are just there to mess with my opponent. And I need to work on the sideboard just a tiny bit. So I hope this is helpful to you as you guys put together your decks for game day. Game day, of course, is I think the 5th and the 6th of August. It's next weekend. It's coming up real fast. So we'll have a couple more deck techs coming your way. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Hit the bell if you want to get notifications from the channel. And have a great day.